Always interact with us on our social media handles indicated at the bottom of your screen. Now, with that said, my name is Dennis Otieno. I trust you're doing well. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, on to our top story this afternoon. New details regarding the contentious WorldCoin cryptocurrency initiative have been disclosed by the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, ODPC. According to the ODPC, the exact count of Kenyan participants registered on the platform remains undisclosed. Immaculate Kasait, the Data Commissioner, spoke when she appeared before the Committee on Communication, Information and Innovation earlier today. During her testimony, she conveyed that the ODPC has initiated a collaborative inquiry involving multiple agencies to ascertain the current operational state of the WorldCoin project. Take a look.
Now we come to 30th of May. This is from the Office of Data Protection. And this is now what I would want to read as the communication, which is being termed as the cessation communication. Processing of sensitive personal data by tools for humanity. And so the Office of Data Protection Commissioner, now following a review of your client's data processing schedule, your client's correspondence and interaction to your client's teams in various shopping malls and so on, So I think this is now the 30th May letter, which is being now referred as cessation. Then there is 2nd of August, where now it's a follow-up to the cessation letter. Again, the Office of Data Protection Commissioner reacts to the lack of cessation by referring to their earlier letter. And so finally then we have the matter now goes to court for the preservation orders. So honorable members, what I wanted us to note is that we are only receiving this now. Yeah. We have not processed this information. And so members, in the interest of time, I would want to ask the commissioner to respond to your reactions, after which I shall now give directions on how we shall proceed going forward.
I want to make one statement. Bearing in mind the information you have just given to us, which we...
Now, moving on, the National Social Security Fund has today held a meeting to discuss about their contributions and ambitious plans for the future. NSSF says it aims to expedite the disbursement of future benefits within 24 hours, with a target to reduce costs to just 1%. According to the managing trustee, David Koros, NSSF is striving to significantly expand its membership base to reach 1 million members, while simultaneously fostering a customer-centric, performance-based culture in order to achieve an impressive 95% customer satisfaction rate.
Develop our team. As I said, I think my team should remember this. I've gone round this country, maybe for your benefit. I went to all the regions that we operate. And we've said we want to also make sure, you know, institutions are run by people, and people must be developed to run the business. So that will be one of our other pillars. And when you have a retirement benefit, it is paid to you when you retire. So once you retire, you are supposed to launch a claim and come forward and we pay you. So, and that is what has happened for almost 99% of NSSF contributions. But unfortunately, in some instances, we have certain cases where the claims are not claimed either because the owner, the beneficiary, either passed on and it's the children who are claiming, or it is involved in a succession issue. The kind of documentation required after the principal member exits or rather passes on are a bit are a bit comprehensive, and some people might encounter difficulty in complying.
From the future plans of the National Social Security Fund to a murder probe in Gatundu, where detectives in Kiambu are investigating circumstances that led to the brutal death of 4 men in Gashoge village, Gatundu North. The 4 men were on Monday night attacked and killed by unknown assailants as they were heading home. According to residents, the 4 were on their way home at around 9 p.m. when they were attacked by unknown people, murdered and left by the roadside. Another man escaped death by a whisker after he managed to escape and was treated and discharged at Igegania Level 4 Hospital. The locals claim that the horrific attack was executed silently since the victims didn't raise distress calls and were only discovered lying in a pool of blood by other passers-by.
Jana usiku tulipigiwa simu tukaambiwa kuna wanaume wamepatikana kwa barabara wakiwa wametupwa, walikuwa wameuawa. So kukuja kuconfirm tukapata ni wanakijiji wetu, wengine tunawajua, na kwa bahati mzuri kuna mmoja ambaye ako hospitali. Wanakijiji hata jana hatukulala, tuna hofu nyingi sana. Security hapa kwetu iko wanting, na tungeomba MCA, MP, hata serikali yote kwa jumla ikuje iangalie hii kijiji, iangalie security hapa.
Hiyo jambo ilituacha na huzuni, hata kukosa kwenda mahali pengine, kama ni jioni ama ni wapi, ni mahali pengine. Kile kimi naweza kusema serikali yetu ichukue hatua. Hii ni jambo ya kushtuka ama ya kushangaza, kwa maana hatujawahi kuona kitu yani mambo kama hii. Ni jambo kubwa na imetendeka. Twaomba saa hii ulinzi uchukuliwe hatua kwa upendo na mapenzi ya serikali yetu.
Watu 4 ambao waliuawa kwa njia ambayo haiwezi kueleweka, na wameuawa pamoja, mtu huyu hapa mwingine pale, na inashindikana sana ni mwenye walifanya kitendo hiki, na kile ambacho kimetendeka kimeleta mambo ya kusajabisha sana. Na ombi letu kama wakaaji wa kijiji hiki na maeneo haya yote ni ya kwamba tunahitaji backup ya usalama, kwa sababu usalama ni kama sio ya kwamba umelegea, lakini tunahitaji uongezewe zaidi.
Elsewhere, police officers from the Central Police Station in Mombasa are now on the spotlight after maiming 2 street children, Paul Njoroge and Derek Karaoke, whose arm and leg were broken. The police are said to have arrested the youth on Sunday evening when watching football, but were later accused of dumping offences. Human rights defenders from Muhuri have condemned the brutality while calling upon the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, to investigate the matter and penalize the officers involved.
Walikuwa wengine wamevaa raia with a private car, so wakakuja wakanishika na wakanivuruta nyuma, na wakaanza kuniambia kuniforce niingie kwa ile gari yao, but was a private, pia hawakuwa na uniform. So mimi nikaambia siwezi nikaingia kwa ile gari juu ya serikali. From there wakaanza kunichapa bila makosa yote, wakaanza kunichapa nini utaingia, wakaanza kunipiga na rungu yenyewe, hata alinipiga kama mnyama. Ni Mungu tu hata sikukufa.
Wanatudhulumu sisi ni binadamu, tuna hustle usiku na mchana, tunapata tunashare. Nashangaa bwana, wanakuja na tutokea, wameacha wezi, wameacha watu wengine wauaji, wanakuja wanatufuata sisi wenye tuna hustle. Hakuna kitu tumewakosea, hakuna kitu tumewafanya.
Tangu IG aanze kusupport polisi, kuwa polisi wanafanya kazi mzuri. Rais Ruto anasema polisi wanafanya kazi mzuri. Baada ya zile maandamano, polisi wamefura kichwa. Polisi hivi sasa wanapiga watu na impunity, wanasema utadu, kwa sababu serikali inawasapoti. Sisi kama watetezi wake za kibinadamu tunaona hii trend is very worrying. Tukikumbuka kile kisanga cha Meru, wale vijana wawili wale mandugu, masuala kama haya tu, kuchukua, kupiga, mwisho wakafa.
Sasa kama serikali, tafadhali maafisa wa usalama, endeleeni kuweka usalama, lakini msinyanyase watu, msipige watu, msitumie nguvu zenu na crown yenu vibaya kwa ajili ya kunyanyasa. Manake hao wenye mnawanyanyasa ni binadamu, na pia wakiweza kuumia sana, the more mtu anaumia, the more anapata hasira na huenda ka-react naye pia.
Meanwhile, members of the Law Society of Kenya have intensified a crackdown on persons masquerading as advocates in Murang'a and Kiambu counties. The Crackdown team of lawyers nabbed a female masquerading as an advocate of the High Court in Maragua town. The unsuspecting lady was caught by a DCI team backed by LSK officials Ndegwa Mbowe and Stephen Bogwa in her office serving clients. The suspect was taken to Maragua police station for grilling before being arraigned at the Kennel Law Courts. In April, Laikipia LSK branch officials helped the police unmask 10 quack lawyers who were operating in Nanyuki town.
From a client who had sought service at an office dubbed as Chege Kibathi Advocates. Her name is Faith Waitherero. Unfortunately, she is not an advocate, and she was pretending to be a commissioner for odds, where she proceeded to offer that service, despite the fact that she knew she's not qualified to do so. We have been running the national campaign against this issue of people who are pretending to be advocates, and we have been calling upon all members of the public to provide information on any persons they think or find is pretending to be a counsel and offering legal services. Also, the other issue that we want to have it clear is that whenever a member of public seeks service in any office of an advocate or someone pretending to be an advocate, it's always important to ask for documents such as a copy of the license and or their full particular, where you can run a search in the LSK search engine in the online, and you can confirm whether such an individual is an advocate or not.
She was offering legal services, so we made our way there in the company of my colleague here, Steve Mbogwa, and the DCI officers based in Maragua. We managed to nab her. In fact, at the time that we got to the office, she was actually attending to some clients. So we managed to nab her, and we asked her for her particulars. We usually, as advocates, we have an LSK advocate search engine, where basically you can search for the particulars of any advocate within Kenya. So we asked her for her details, and she could not provide. We also asked for something we call a P105, that is a number that every advocate usually has to identify them. She could not provide the same.
Now, chaos ensued at the Magic Business Center at Ronald Ngala in the CBD after the owner of the building is alleged to have ordered the tenants to pay rent to a different agent other than the one they entered a lease agreement with. According to Rosemary Mudeu, a lady who owns the stalls in the building, the owner of the building is trying to evict her by force. She alleges that goons stormed the building and distracted the tenants from doing their businesses. She says she has lost more than 250 tenants because of the confusion. She says despite reporting the matter to the authorities, no action has been taken.
An agreement so that I can lease their mall. That is after they auctioned, after Tusky supermarket was auctioned. This building was here, was empty. This building did not have anything, and they stayed for 8 months without anybody in this building. And we entered into an agreement with them so that I can build stalls. I built 526 stalls in this mall, as you can see, and I have a valid lease for 10 years. We managed to pay a lot of money to get these tenants into this building. Mr. Viral came and told them to pay someone else. And most of the tenants started paying him. They stopped paying me. Tenants have not been able to pay me since July. Yet the landlord is telling me to pay them rent. They are trying to take my building through force, through use of power, through goons.
The business was now reviving, and she was going to reap good dividends. That's the time now they stepped in and tried to grab the business from her.
My clients have been unable to conduct business in a peaceful environment. You can see my clients most of them are small businessmen and women who depend on small profits to make a living. When their businesses are affected for hours, they are not able to access their businesses for hours, a whole day. It affects their businesses and their income and ultimately their families.
Now, residents of Benguini and Mutithini in Wamumu Ward, Mwea West Sub-County, have traveled more than 30 kilometers to the Kenya Power headquarters in Kerugoya to protest over delayed connection to electricity. Doreen Mahita with the details.
The residents said that the electricity company has delayed in connecting them to the power grid despite them installing electricity poles, a transformer, and even installing meter boxes in some of the homesteads.
Sikuwa mnasema sinda ila tuko nayo. Hata wakora akikuja uwezi kuwaona kwa sababu hakuna mpaka utaona kituanu. Watu wameimbiwa mbuzi, ng'ombe, juu kama kuko na stima tuweke nje security tutakuwa tunawaona. Sasa hatuwezi. Kuku zinaenda, mbuzi zinaenda. Sasa tuko na sinda mingi. Hakuna stima.
Mimi ndio chairman wa hawa watu na hii mradi ya stima. Na hii mradi tulianza mwaka wa 2010 na tulikuwa tunafuatilia tukiwa watu watatu. Na wakati tulipokuja hapa tukaambiwa tukafanyia quotation, tukaambiwa tutalipa milioni 4. Sisi tukalitreat tukarudi nyumbani kwa sababu milioni 4 hatungepata.
Led by Peter Jiru, the residents said that they took the initiative after the calls to the management of the institution failed to respond to their pleas.
Reference number, last map project, name, Matidine Karaba. Reference number, Z.
Elsewhere, hunger and drought have significantly impacted school-going children in Nyatike, Migori County. Agenga Primary School is among the institutions hit hardest by these challenges. Despite being renowned for rice cultivation and other horticultural crops, the Lower Kuja irrigation scheme has not been able to mitigate the hunger problem. As a result, residents are urging the government to intervene and alleviate their predicament. With a student population of 500, nearly half of them are unable to return to school in the afternoon due to the prevalent food scarcity and hunger affecting the area. Joshua Okeo, the chairperson of the school's board of management, highlights that many learners in the region are compelled to survive on just one meal per day, as numerous households grapple with the ongoing crisis. Some school head teachers have suggested implementing school feeding programs in areas of the county facing perceived hardships.
Primary school has very many challenges. As you can see, the school covers almost a population of 3 locations. Currently, when the pupils go back for lunch, because according to the economy is now so rigid, and if they go, because they lack food at their home, they can go, they don't come back because there's no food. You can find about 50 missing to come back for lunch. Decent, hakuna chakula nyumbani, they can miss to come back.
Even at homes where they are coming from, there is still that starvation or that famine. What their parents get, that is a small portion. It reaches with them in a short time or a short period.
Our governor intends to provide a feeding arrangement. I was requesting, because of this community, our school to be considered for that program. At least that will increase the high enrollment, because some of the children stay at home. And if the program is introduced, it will be very healthy and the learners will continue learning well without any problem.
Now, from tackling drought in Migori County to safeguarding the port in the country, Transport and Roads Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has received 4 new cranes today at Mombasa Port with the capacity to handle larger ships and enable easier cargo release. He encouraged the Kenya Ports Authority to employ more women in a bid to improve the efficiency of the technical sectors and gender equality. At the same time, Minister Murkomen has cleared the air on claims that Mombasa Port may lose trade to neighboring ports, including Dar es Salaam and Berbera Port, announcing that the government has put up strategies to improve the port.
Msisikize hizi fitina ya kusema ati port ya Mombasa imeshindwa na nani na nini. Hapana. Sisi tuko kibao mbele kuhakikisha kwamba port ya Mombasa inaendelea kuwa port yenye ina sifa na iko na uwezo ya kufanya biashara katika nchi ya Afrika, ikuwe competitive kwa Afrika nzima. I am pleased to hear from the Managing Director, Captain William Ruto, that one of these cranes will be piloted by a lady. And we have agreed with the MD that he needs to be deliberate in hiring and training other women to be able to be part and parcel of this progress, so that we avoid calling it a man's job. If what a man can do, a woman can even do it better.
Meanwhile, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says the government is deploying police officers to all coffee factories to guard against the rising cases of theft of the produce. Now speaking during the reopening of the Nairobi Coffee Exchange auction early today at the new Kenya Planters Cooperative Union KPCU in Nairobi, the Deputy President said theft has caused losses to farmers and must be stopped. Operations at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange were suspended soon after the Coffee Reform Stakeholders Conference in June this year in Meru, which, among other recommendations, rooted for elimination of brokers for farmers to sell their produce directly for better returns.
A historic day for the coffee farmer as I ring the bell marking the reopening of the Nairobi Coffee Exchange auction. The bell we ring today signifies that small-scale farmer who has been toiling and sweating for peanuts will meet the buyer and negotiate the price of their coffee, not through middlemen, not again. Indeed, the journey to putting money to where it belongs, the pockets of the farmer, is firmly on course. The Agriculture and Food Authority will license the buyers. This is just the beginning of delivering the coffee subsector reforms, which began as President William Ruto instructed me under Executive Order number 1 of 2023. The reforms we are undertaking are based on the resolutions of the Coffee Subsector Stakeholders Conference, which I convened and chaired in Meru in June. Agriculture is at the heart of the Kenya Kwanza administration's bottom-up economic transformation agenda. The sector is employing more than 40% of our population and over 70% of the rural people. It is immensely contributing to our economy directly and through interlinkages. We want to boost the crop production per bush in the next 1 year as we target at least 200,000 metric tons by the year 2027.
And it's time to take to the fields and shift focus to matters sports. Now, the Kenya National Rally champion Karan Patel has set his eyes on winning the 4th leg of the African Rally Championship in Burundi this coming weekend. Patel, who has been preparing his car and training ahead of the race, will depart the country Tuesday night for the Continental Showpiece on the 18th to 20th August and will be navigated by his longtime friend Tausif Khan. Commenting ahead of his departure to Burundi, Patel hoped for a favorable weather in Burundi, adding that the recce for the track will be vital in ensuring they put up fastest times